G'day punters, welcome to the deep dive powered by puntingform.com.au. We're going to use their sectional data to explain to you how and why and everything else that happened on Saturday at Flemington. We're going to focus on the Flemington meeting. We're going to look at some of the betting via betfair.com.au using their Betfair Live webpage, or what do you call it?
Analysis?
Yeah, it's a great tool to use pre-race, Betfair Live. Anyway, we're going to focus on the Flemington meeting, but before we get started, we're going to give Racing.com the whack that they rightly deserve. Your mounting yard coverage, the producers at Racing.com, you are so far away from what is relevant to wagering and to the sport. You are not Channel 7. You are Racing.com. If I want to watch a sort of more Channel 7-y production, you know what I'd do, Peter?
Watch Channel 7?
Fucking watch Channel 7. Now, the free ride is almost over, and like early on, you sort of, I felt like you got the message and you understood, and you steered the telecast towards more of the important information that people couldn't get because they can't get on course, and then you lost your way, and you got Bruce on the coverage. I love Bruce, worship Bruce actually, but I don't need to see him on Racing.com if it's going to cost me looking at horses and ponies. There was no mounting out coverage any joint at all. It was just half-assed all weekend. 5 minutes before a race, you might start seeing them parade on a replay too. Pathetic. The free ride is over. You will now, in a week or two, have competition from actual sports that people actually watch who aren't just like victims and like institutionalized gamblers. So you've got 2 weeks to sort of get your content spot on. You are not Channel 7. You will never beat Channel 7 because you can't run Sydney racing, New South Wales racing on your network. So don't try and be them. You never can. Use what you got. Use what no one else will do. It shouldn't be that hard. It's very, very frustrating. Anyway, looking at Flemington, Peter, Oceanex and Prezado have run the 2 biggest figures of the day, 13.8s, the pair of them. Big numbers for this time of year.
But Prezado has basically recorded a very similar figure to what it did last start. 13.5, minus 13.5 last start. It's now recorded a minus 13.8. So the horse is in rare form.
Saw Quinny on Twitter, Pistol, saying that they got offered 1 point. He implied they got offered 1.5 allegedly for the horse. They knocked it back. And it's a bit regretful. I think if the horse can run 13.8, they'll get their 1.5.
Just needs the right race.
That's grouped. It's group time.
Yeah, it's a pity that there's no group 1,000-metre races down the straight.
There is, I think.
Well, no, not right now, but it would be a perfect opportunity for one of those races to roll around. But it doesn't help when prize money's been cut in half either.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when sports turnover stops, I guess. Anyway, that's a joke all in itself. While we're talking about just outrageous jokes, I'll get this one out of my way too, out of my system. I am cheering so hard the racing rant and the punter show. Mark Lambourne has, I'd say, influenced more people in the industry, which a lot of people in the industry who haven't said anything and are in positions to say something have been influenced by him. You make me sick, and I'm sure you make everyone else who knows sick. But he's influenced and done more for the game than most people have in racing, as has Glenn Pollard. And the fact that they're not helped, but they're hurt and they're held back and they're targeted by the North Korean government that runs racing in New South Wales is just staggering. You have people who are promoting wagering and promoting your product for free. Like, God help you and God help us all. If he exists, we're going to need him because you guys have zero clue what you're doing up there and you're going to run into the ground. Again, it was Christmas for you for a couple of months and you'd have like a group race finish in Sydney and then you'd duck off to Kembla or Doomben Yard or something. You take Ascot off. Like, you've got no idea at all. And now the sports will come back and less people will watch and less people will wager. Hopeless. But yeah, it's just utterly unbelievable the way what they're doing to the racing rant. And I hope they fight hard and make a big point of this whole thing. Anyway, what were we talking about, Peter?
Prezado?
I can't remember.
Well,
just loves it straight. Like, I don't think it had any favours in run.
no, probably not. I mean, they've gone fast tempo, which obviously the horse is appreciating, coming off a previous fast tempo as well. 2 lengths fast for the class, but the overall adjusted figure, you can ramp it up a little bit more, 4.7 fast. And obviously, Prezado's just capitalised off that and just completely exploded towards the end. What did you think of the money or the lack thereof for that horse? I mean, obviously, King of Hastings was pretty solid, but do you think?
Yeah, I kind of think. Well, I don't want to keep whinging, but we'll get to it in a while, and I'm going to whinge about my day on the punt. But I think it SP'd this price because it SP'd like 10s or whatever the start before.
Mm.
It was just getting out to sort of about its right price, the market thought. I thought it was a bit short, but then when it won, you thought, fuck, that's a pretty good price.
Yeah.
It was in no man's land for me as a decision. We let the race go, which to be honest, 200 metres out, I was lucky I wasn't on course because I would have tried to jump off that P&O ship cruise if Milwaukee had won. I think we backed Milwaukee to start previous.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Milwaukee go to 1,200 or 1,100, and it stayed at 1,000, so I just ignored it. And there it was at an enormous price, looming to win. And I was just like, you fucking imbecile. And the 2 horses we liked last start, because it was the same sort of race, fought out the finish, really, in Milwaukee and Prezado. I thought King of Hastings went huge. I think it clocked the fastest last 200 metres of the day. Yeah, it did. And that's off a proper tempo. So there was a absolute walk in race 2, which has polluted the closing figures on the day.
Yep.
But King of Hastings, Milwaukee, and Prezado 1, 2, and 3 fastest last 200 off that really good tempo. They flipped the order. King of Hastings the 3rd fastest last 400. Milwaukee 2nd fastest. Prezado fastest, and they basically dominated the last 600 metres as well of the whole day. So it's a proper race. It's a big figure. I think Milwaukee wants 11 to 1,200, and I hope it stays at Flemington, and I'll be betting. It's my horse to follow if it gets to 1,200. If it stays at 1,000, you probably have to have something on it just for your mental health.
Well, it's just going well enough, isn't it?
Yeah, agreed. Circle races now, mate?
Yeah, well, I think we have to touch on, you mentioned Oceanex before, and the Andrew Ramsden recording the joint best figure on the card, Oceanex and Prezado. We're seeing a couple of these staying races being run at really genuine tempos. So here they've gone 3.7 lengths fast to the 600, and Oceanex has probably been
for the class.
Yeah, for the class, which is important to note. But Oceanex has been basically hooning this entire prep, had those couple of runs in Sydney, went to Adelaide last start and recorded a pretty dominant victory there. And now back at Flemington's just produced a career peak.
It can clearly stay. Any horse that was strong in the finish here stays. I don't think King of Lear Grants is that good. I thought we may as well talk about the great man right now. I thought Ollie gave this thing a peach. He gave Sirkoski a fucking peach. Insist on cover, the great man. But whilst it over-raced for like 50 to 100 metres, he then said, you don't want to fight these pythons, go to sleep. And it did. And then he pulled out and just put the race away. Well, thank God he did, because I was on there. I thought he got race. It might have been race 2, which when you look at the numbers and how slow they've gone, we backed his runner there. He got that race wrong. That's the only mistake I think he made all day.
That was on Better Kick.
Better Kick. He's gone too slow, Better Kick. Liberate, another peach.
Yep.
We weren't on, though, were we? Because it seemed unders coming off a big break between runs and from Ballarat. No. Yep. If Ollie's riding, we backed another Mick Price horse. Idiot. King of Lear Grants gave it an absolute peach. I don't know what she was on in the Super Titus race, which we backed Super Titus, thank the gods and Allah, because he made it a winning day, but not a fat enough day to justify how well we saw them.
Yep.
Then we backed Akinar Star for your mate Lindsay.
Yeah, the West is best horse.
It looked like it was part jockey, part kite on the thing in the last sort of 400 as he flapped all over it. And 400 into the race, 600 into the race, I thought Iconoclasm was a real threat. It was firm in the market. But you looked at Iconoclasm mid-race and you thought, well, we're outside lead here on Akinar Star.
Mm.
It's 4 or 5 back the fence. We're sweet, surely. Then for you just to see some fucking thing coming late to ruin our day, not ruin it. Yeah, no, it did ruin it. It's still profitable, but I felt like we lost. And there was Ollie. Like, how did he do it? Freak. And then you thought, well, he's fucked me here. He's a big chance of fucking me the other way in the next race because we'd launched at B Hunter and launched again. He zigged when he should have zagged at 60 k's an hour, top of straight. Dead and Deficit also put in like 2 or 3 big bounds to gap him. Like he made the decision he did because of where that horse, how it was travelling. If he goes inside or holds, I think B Hunter wins. He made an error. But like where he put the horse in run was just elite behaviour. He could have been back where Ben Melm was on Broadway in 4th and just been another good run for a horse that doesn't make any effort at the start of a race. I was a fan of Sadler's pretend spray, and I liked how Ollie told him to get fucked at the end of it too.
It was good. It was good banter by whoever came up with that.
Sadler's an angry man, and a funny man.
Yeah,
we were back on the day when we were used to be allowed on course. I'd love to go like wind up Sads over the fence because he hates firm tracks. When they get upgraded, I go Sads wiving you to scratch, you know. And he enjoys that sort of gear. He's a bit of a jokester, Sadler, but he must be feeling pretty sick because we've been on B Hunter the last 2 starts at least, and it should have won both, and both times have probably been pilot error. I think Ollie's one looks worse than it is. It's just a split-second decision. Whereas, like, the previous start, it's just like a dumb decision from the start.
Mm. It's just lost that momentum, hasn't it? From the 400 to the 200, it's from the 5th sectional in that race, and then it's closed off with the fastest last 200. So it's just lost that little bit of momentum. If you break down some of the splits, you can see there's a bit of a difference there between it and, say, Det and Deficit, who's just had that real surge from the 400 to the 200 off a slow tempo as well. So to have that lack of momentum at a crucial stage.
Deficit, yeah, it's run a 4.2 from the 6 to the 4. That's like elite. There's no way Ollie expects that horse to do that at this level of race. Like it's not much of a race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way B Hunter has got through the line and closed, I fear that we're going to have to sort of go again.
Yeah. I don't think it's fair to refer to it as
$3. It's not a nonny.
Yeah.
It's not a nonny. It's almost like you wished it was a nonny, so it got done by 3 lengths and didn't just savage it late and make you go, yeah, definitely fucking should have won. It should have fucking won. Yeah, so we finished the day in front, but we finished the day with 2 enormous bets on Akinar Star and B Hunter. So they both lost. We lost heaps. We still won for the day, but if either or both won, which is very likely a good chance of happening, it's real fat. So outside of that, Peter, anything else? I thought the sectionals that Crystal Chief ran in race 2, despite it was a walk early, they are pretty solid, and the horse, you have to have a good look at it next start.
Yep.
I think that'll do for horses. I think we should talk about betting psychology.
Sure.
So this time of year, it's harder, and especially the COVID. But you get Sandown tracks where it's too wet. Only certain horses are going to handle it. But I think it's so wet and chopped up that even horses that do handle it might not. There's patterns big time. Caulfield's really hard to bet at. Sandown's really on pacey, hillside or lakeside. You get to Flemington, and you know it's going to be at least a soft 6, probably better. There's no wind and it's even. And I don't want to sound like a wanker, but I'm really, really happy with how I like previewed it. Is that the right word? Previewed it?
Yeah.
Analysed it?
Yeah.
I think I bet pretty well, but we haven't got paid. I halved my bet on Super Titus, which I think was the right play even when I look back on it, because I've had a lot of respect for Rapture. But it was probably too short, but it was so brave for the previous start. I'm happy to have backed the thing in race 2. The market hated it, but they just walked, so doesn't really count. Missed the boat Prezado again. We backed that last start, but we still missed it. But then the last 2 races, I think we've bet the right way, and it's just how do you suggest people at home would handle like what I've dealt with on Saturday?
I always look at it from that poker psychology where you can make the right move and you can still lose, and you just have to be okay with that. There's nothing more you can really do. You do the review afterwards, you make your notes, but you have to, I guess, just accept that you can make the right play and still come out of it a loser. And vice versa. Sometimes you can actually back a wrong horse, so to speak, that can still win a race. You might have made the wrong play. You might have backed at the wrong price. You might have come into it from misjudgment, miscalculation, and you can still win. So it's part of the psychology behind it is not getting too carried away when you win and not getting too upset when you lose, because you don't have complete control over what you're doing.
Yeah, but which is hard to do.
Yeah.
I still get carried away when I win. I still do. You know that.
Whereas I do nothing.
I think like when the racing's hotter, it's just like quicker, and you just like up and go again. Whereas like now, I really am waiting for these good opportunities to bet up, and we bet right up on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's just about. Like we've had a few questions about this as well. We're discussing it. I think it's important just to relax on it, not force it. It's disappointing, yeah, but you can't do anything about it. And trying to force it somewhere else isn't going to work.
Yep.
Just wait. Like I won't turn over a stack at Ballarat on Wednesday because it's a random meeting, which isn't typical for the pattern. We'll just pick apart. Wait for a grouse meeting again. I'll thoroughly review this meeting even more so than I already have. I've done it already harder than I normally would, because I think this time of year, this meeting is going to be a really good form meeting.
Yep.
As opposed to some of these shittier, more chaotic meetings we've had recently. But yeah, maybe just have one more goat and just chill. Luckily, we didn't get to see any horses parade, so we didn't do any more damage. That would have upgraded you up even more. The producers at racing.com need to.
Well, they probably need to make.
They're not going to do it. They've clearly decided the direction they want to go in, and I think it's a shit one.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get back on course and never have to watch that channel again.
Yeah. Because really, in the world
except for Tuesdays with Terry and anything that BZ does and all the other good people on there. Yeah. The people are great. That's why it's hard talking about this, because I don't want to bag the people. I love the people. I love the characters on .com. I just utterly am sickened by the decisions the producers are making in regard to the way they present race days.
Yeah.
In a time when we don't have a choice but to consume it. Nothing else?
No. I was keen, obviously, in the lead up to the weekend. I thought the Roma Cup looked like one of the better races around the country.
They spelled it. They spelled the champ.
Yep, so Vega Magic's jarred up, but it's a really...
Your thing was just 3 wide and just about to win. Is it going to get there? Nah, didn't. Bang, fuck.
And then you have a look at the data afterwards. They've gone 3.8 lengths slow to the 600. And then not only that, but they've slowed down. The race leader's gone 10.76 seconds from the 800 to the 600. And then from the 600 to the 400, dropped to 12.2.
Was it Carberry?
It was Carberry leading by that stage, yeah. He was out 3-4 wide, though. It was a bizarrely good tactical ride where Durandell pinged, got straight to the front, but didn't really want to control. Carberry was almost doing the Vorster, I'm going to lead 4 off the fence. But what
biggest shins in racing.
He just kept the Velvet King just out a little bit wider. So he's 3, 4, 5 wide off the track. And then they've slowed the whole field. And you have a look at some of the splits that, say, Angelic Ruler in particular has been able to close off with. Electric Light was good. Gadding was really strong as well from an impossible position. They've closed really well, but you have to say that those on speed weren't suited necessarily either. And obviously Vega Magic's going out for a spell. So intriguing race, but I'm not sure how much to take out of it going forward.
I'm surprised people weren't suspended.
Well, they don't have the punting form data, courtesy of our great friends, until the Monday. And even then, I'm not sure they're necessarily using it. So,
have they come down with a fine for the 27-year-old apprentice who rode the race in his own tactics, ignored all stable staff and all direction from owners and stable, which is rare in racing, but apparently this time that's what happened.
He got 2 months.
2 months in between light and firm, just
a little bit in the middle.
Keep your mouth quiet. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep. That was the weekend that was. Play on.
Angelic Rule, the fastest last 4 and 200 of the day.
Yeah, but it was a day where there was some pretty.
How can you suspend a 27-year-old apprentice for what he did on a $60 shot? Angelic Rule has gone 9.2 lengths slow to the 600. 9.2 lengths slow to the 600. Its previous start, it went 3.6 fast. It went 9.8 slow to the 600 at Bunbury on the 3rd of February in 2019. That was the last time it went that slow to the 600.
Yep.
Western Australian stewards, why don't you do some research? You don't have to count for yourselves. This does it for you. Get yourself a puntingform.com.au subscription, read it, and go, hey, Willie, Pike, I know you run this joint, but do you realise how slow you went to the 600? Do you think that gave the horse every chance to win?
It was a bizarre little meeting from that point of view. If you can compare the Roma Cup to a benchmark 66, a benchmark 78, both over 1,400, and then there's also a restricted to 0 Metro wins race over 1,400 earlier in the card. They've actually gone very even in 3 of those 4 races, basically within 0.2 of the length to the 600. And the Roma Cup has returned with the weakest figure out of those 4 races, and that's a Group 3 race. So that probably says something about how the race was run up front, where some of the back markers got to, the lack of intent shown by some of the jockeys, and the fact that really none of them got going until it was way too late. So from that point of view, it's one of the more bizarre races to pull apart that you could probably find this season at Ascot. We left it right to the last meeting.
And it might be also, punters, I think you have to check Dior, do your own research. I think it's the slowest Gatting's ever gone to the 600 since its third ever start.
Yeah.
It's had a lot of starts.
Yeah.
Was that in the stewards report? I highly doubt it.